Welcome to the GCSE Maths Advantage. I'm Dr. James Carter, and every episode I'm going to break down one topic, show you where the marks are, and give you a quick win you can use in your next exam, whether you're targeting a grade 7 or pushing for a 9. Let's get into it.
Hook. This one triangle question lost more marks than any other on last year's exam, and it's actually easy if you know the trick. Picture this. You're given two sides and an angle that's not between them. You write down the sine rule, you get a value for the sine of an angle, you press calculate, you give one answer, and you miss a second valid angle. That single omission costs students easy marks. Stick with me for the next 12 minutes and you won't make that mistake.
Quick news recap and promise. Exam boards confirmed no big formula changes this year. The sine and cosine rules are still fair game on higher papers. Today I'll teach you three things. First, how to choose between the sine rule and the cosine rule quickly. Second, how to solve a tricky SSA case and spot when two answers are possible. And third, a clean 3-step routine you can write in the exam to grab method marks. Let's work through this step by step.
Section 1. The concept. Choose the right rule. Start with the two formulas you need in plain English. The sine rule says the ratio of a side to the sine of its opposite angle is the same for every side of the triangle. In symbols, A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. The cosine rule links three sides and the cosine of the included angle. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. So how do you choose? Simple decision rule. If you have two angles and a side, or two sides and a non-included angle, the sine rule is the natural choice. If you have two sides and the included angle, or all three sides, use the cosine rule. Say it with me. Sine for opposite, cosine for included. Why each rule works. Quickly. The sine rule comes from dropping a perpendicular in a triangle and using the definition of sine as opposite over hypotenuse. Do that for two different angles, rearrange, and the ratios match. The cosine rule is really just the law of cosines from extending Pythagoras when the angle isn't right-angled. You can derive it by splitting the triangle and applying Pythagoras with a cos term showing up. You don't need the full derivation every time, but understanding that sine rule links sides and opposite angles, and cosine rule links sides with the included angle makes your choice logical rather than guesswork. One more practical point. When you use a calculator for arcsine or arccos, remember arcsine returns an acute angle between 0 and 90 degrees for positive inputs. That's where the ambiguous case starts. Keep that thought. We'll return to it in the worked example.
Section 2. Worked example and the ambiguous case. Let's solve a single exam-style triangle and show both possible angles. Imagine triangle ABC. Angle A is 30 degrees. Side A, opposite A, is 8 centimeters. Side B, opposite B, is 9 centimeters. The information is two sides and a non-included angle. That's the sine rule situation. Write the sine rule first. Sine B over B equals sine A over A, or rearranged, sine B equals B times sine A divided by A. Now substitute the numbers. Sine B equals 9 times sine 30 degrees divided by 8. Sine 30 is 0.5, so sine B equals 9 times 0.5 over 8 equals 4.5 over 8, which is 0.5625. Now the key. Compute arcsine 0.5625. Your calculator gives the acute value B equals 34.25 degrees, rounded. That's one valid angle. But pause. Arcsine returned the acute angle. For any acute result, there is a second possible angle, 180 degrees minus that acute result. So the second candidate for B is 180 minus 34.25, which is 145.75 degrees. Are both possible? Check by adding to angle A. 30 plus 145.75 equals 175.75, which leaves angle C about 4.25 degrees, still positive. So both B equals 34.25 degrees and B equals 145.75 degrees are valid geometrically. This is the ambiguous case. Two triangles satisfy the same given data. Always report both possible angles when the arithmetic shows two valid ones, and then find the third angle each time by subtracting from 180. If a candidate makes the third angle 0 or negative, discard it.
Section 3. Exam Technique. How marks are awarded and what to write. Examiners want to see method. For this sort of question on a higher paper, you might see a 5-mark layout. M1 for writing down the correct sine or cosine rule, M1 for substituting the numbers correctly, M1 for rearranging to isolate the trigonometric function, M1 for using the calculator to find the angle, and A1 for the final answer to the required accuracy with a degree symbol. That pattern means if you write the formula and substitution clearly, you can pick up method marks even if you slip on the final rounding. So what do you need to write to claim those M marks? 1. Write sin B divided by B equals sin A divided by A, or sin B equals B sin A divided by A. Don't just write numbers without the formula. 2. Show the substitution. Sin B equals 9 times sin 30 degrees divided by 8 equals 0.5625. 3. Show the step to arc sin or arc cos and either the value or the reasoning for two values. So write B equals arc sin of 0.5625 equals 34.25 degrees, or B equals 180 degrees minus 34.25 degrees equals 145.75 degrees. 4. For each candidate, do the sum check. A plus B equals 30 plus 145.75 equals 175.75. Rearranges, C equals 4.25 degrees. Examiners love to see that check. If you follow those written steps, you will collect the method marks even when under time pressure. Remember, write it down, don't just think it. Common loss of marks: forgetting the degree symbol, failing to state both possible angles in an ambiguous case, and not checking that the remaining angle is positive. Also watch rounding. Give answers to at least one decimal place if the paper's mark scheme uses that, and say correct to 2 decimal places if the question asks for it.
The quick win, a 3-step routine you can use under exam conditions. Choose, solve, check. Step 1. Choose. Quickly decide sine or cosine using the rule of thumb. Sine for opposite, cosine for included. Step 2. Solve. Write the formula and substitute in full. Keep one line clear for the rearranged equation. Step 3. Check. Do 3 quick tests. A. If you used sine and got sine value x, check if x greater than 1, then there's no solution. B. If 0 less than x less than 1, compute acute B equals arcsine x, and if acute B greater than given angle, you must also consider B equals 180 degrees minus acute B. C. Add your angles to ensure the third angle is positive. That second test is your 10-second ambiguous case detector. Compute arcsine of B sine A over A and compare it to A. If arcsine of that greater than A, then there are 2 possible solutions. Give both. A tiny exam room habit that saves marks. Always label your triangle clearly on the answer space A, B, C, and label sides A, B, C. Write sine B equals ... rather than sine equals ... Clarity wins marks.
Recap and resources. In one sentence, use the rule of thumb to pick sine or cosine, write your working clearly to collect method marks, and always run the ambiguous case test when using the sine rule in an SSA situation. For practice, try this. A equals 20 degrees, A equals 6, B equals 7. Apply the 3-step routine and see whether 2 solutions exist. You'll find a downloadable worksheet with 3 worked SSA examples and annotated diagrams at jcacademyonline.co.uk, ready to print and stick in your exercise book.
That's your quick win for today. If this helped, share it with a friend who's revising. You'll find more worked solutions and revision resources at jcacademyonline.co.uk. Download the worksheet, practice the 3-step routine, and write the method in full on every question. Marks are there for the taking. Stay curious. That's the show. If you want 50 worked solutions covering every topic we discuss on this show, check the link in the show notes. Until next time, trust the process and nail that exam. Stay curious.